Perfect. Thank you so much, Crispin and Dr. Vaughn. Round of applause for them as well. Thank you for taking your time today. And our last speaker of the day is going to be the one and only Greg Jarvis, who many of you probably already know. He is a fierce advocate of HD and research, retired from the National Park Service, and he is going to come and just tell us a little bit about our local HD resources, centers of excellence, and what we have to offer here from the local chapter.
This is a bit challenging. I got it there. And do it upside down. Thanks, Liza, for the introduction. See if I got a slideshow here. Okay. I've been a member of the HD community for over 20 years now, and part of HDSA for about that same amount of time. What I'm going to try to do is clear up how all this is integrated and what our centers, wow, what our centers of excellence are, how they're connected to HDSA, and I will try not to get the feedback. And who the social worker is, who Beth works for, and how it's all coordinated and put together. But this is our Rocky Mountain chapter board. And you've met Liza, and Floyd's in the audience here, helping people out in the parking lot get in here. Ivana's up here in the front. Justin just left, myself, and we have a number of people and some new folks that have just joined. And we have people spread across the state. We have members in Leadville and members in Grand Junction. So if you're not local, you can still be part of us. But our big focus is, you see there in the bottom, to improve lives of everyone affected by Huntington's disease. And oops, that way. And these are kind of the key areas that we work on and that we talk about every month that we have a chapter board meeting. Support, how do we build awareness? How do we advocate for people and within the HD community? How do we provide information? And to support all this, how are we going to raise funds? Which is usually a good chunk of our conversations because we have lots and lots of events. In fact, we were just recognized as one of the lead chapters in the country in event organization. And 2 years ago, we were named the chapter of the year here in Colorado. So we have a very active group, and we are all volunteers. That's another important thing to realize. And then how we provide research and how we interact at HDSA. And this is kind of how we work with our centers of excellence. And I'll talk a little bit about that on a couple slides. Okay. Providing support. We have our social worker, Beth, that introduced herself. We have support groups. We have Denver Metro group that we have once a month. We have a national gene positive group on behaviors. We have international members that join that one and talk with people. And that's always really interesting to see who and what kind of support people have in other parts of the country and even outside of this country. So it's a very interesting group to be part of and talk. And I do the peer support for those support groups, and Beth leads those also. We have a Grand Junction support group over there. And we have a virtual caregiver support group that meets on a quarterly basis. And we assist and partner with the local centers of excellence in organizing events like this, as well as on a quarterly basis, talking to Dr. Forbes and Dr. Salinas on how to better work our clinics. One of the things that hasn't been brought up is that we have a monthly clinic that's supported by HDSA. Both of these clinics get a grant to operate on a monthly basis for people to come in and talk about and get seen by professionals. And we build awareness. We work with folks in law enforcement service organizations, different university students. We've had people that want to learn about HD. We go out and talk to those people in the community. That's what our social worker does with part of her time. As well as going out to long-term care facilities that are caring for people with HD to work with those staff that might not have that much background in HD and try to educate them, because a lot of times we have people that are in those facilities that are maybe a little bit younger than the typical people that you see there. So it's really nice for our social worker to go out and help that staff learn how to work with somebody with HD. And we have a group that works very cooperatively with the National Youth Alliance. A couple of members of our chapter are on the National Youth Alliance. They just got back this summer from, was it Prague, I believe, for the international folks, young folks. And youth, they classify as anybody like 30-ish and under. So it's not teenagers, although teenagers are included in that group. How we advocate, we work, and I spent a lot of time at one point working on healthcare reform and meeting with legislature folks, getting them to recognize HD, understand what it is, help us out with getting the laws changed within the Social Security, the definition of HD in those, because the old law was one that was very, very old. Those are all those kinds of things that we look at and work on. Healthcare, insurance access also I have up there. And we educate, we do food for thoughts education events. We lead this symposium that we do once a year. We have about 3 or 4 different meetings throughout the year with a lot of the people that you see in this room to kind of talk about what our agenda is. It's very important for you to fill out that survey in front of you, because we will be looking at that. I think we have a meeting on Halloween morning to discuss how this went and what are some of the topics, and start looking for speakers for 2026. So those other things there, I just talked about a little bit. How do we support all this? Because it costs money, of course. In the springtime, we have a celebration of hope where we honor people from the HD community, individuals as well as collective organizations or clinicians or such in the spring. And we also, that is one of our fundraisers where we raise money. We have Peaceful Poses for HD event, which we did our first one this year, which was a yoga event that was extremely successful. We have our Heroes and Villains 5K Huntington disease walk and race that's over here at Central Park. And we have our Fairways of Hope golf tournament, which has been being held out at Arrowhead Golf Course for the last few years. A big fundraiser, as well as our annual Amarillo sales, which are now kind of moved to almost a fully online. But I'll put a plug in for them. The Amarillos I got last year was the best I've had in years, but they went to a new company. So they're very nice now. They all bloom. and Rebloom. We're social now. You can find us as always on the Rocky Mountain. Just type in Rocky Mountain chapter or HDSA, Colorado. We got it listed so that it falls out, even though we're the Rocky Mountain chapter. We're based in Colorado, so no matter which item you search, you will find our page for HDSA. We're on Facebook. You can join us there. And just here recently, we are now on Instagram. And here's my plug to get more folks, because you never know who's going to show up here. But you can participate in the fundraising events. You can volunteer to be part of a committee. Not even, not be a chapter member, but just, I want to help out with the run. I want to help out. One of the events I had, forgot about it on that list, is I want to help out with Drag Queen Bingo next year, because that's going to be one of our events. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can attend a support group. They're all online now for the most part. Be an advocate. Speak to a group. You can join the board. And then, as always, there's those opportunities here at the year end, the giving days, and those kinds of things that are coming up that you can give your financial support if you want to do that. Our centers of excellence, that's who's helping us host this event, both Dr. Salinas' office as well as Dr. Forbes' office. They do get grants on a yearly basis. I put together a letter of support for those groups, and it gets sent into our national organization, and then they help fund some of the things that they do. We have two of them here in Colorado. The only other major metro area that has two is Chicago. We have fought hard to have those two here. They kind of cover different areas. We have one of the first ones that were ever established at Dr. Salinas at the Rocky Mountain Movement Disorders Center over by Swedish. It was one of the first ones that was established over 20 years ago, even prior to Dr. Kumar. Lots of you guys probably know him. And the University of Colorado has now been around probably for about 15 years. And they have different roles, and they have different types of research opportunities. And they have these monthly clinics. Please be sure to talk to them if you aren't a part of that and want to be part of that. There's genetic testing available at both of these clinics using the HDSA protocol, which gives you a team of people to help advise you and move through genetic testing. And there's these educational opportunities that they help us out with and are responsible to helping us out with. And then one of my big things is I've been involved in probably about 15 different research studies over the last 20 years. I was originally involved in the predecessor to enroll, which was the Pharaoh study, before I got tested. Afterwards, they had Predict HD, which have now been rolled into the Enroll study. But being involved in these research opportunities, it's just amazing. Here in Colorado, we have some of the largest enrollments globally in these studies. In the Unicure study, a lot of folks have come through here, through Colorado, to be involved in that. And there wasn't a whole lot of people in that study. I think 29 I counted when you added the low dose and high dose up. But a lot of those folks came through here in Colorado. And that's because of the system that we have worked up here, two centers of excellence. And one of my things is being a part of the research study. I can't advocate for you to be part of a research study because the more data points, the better for all. And I've been contributing those data points since 2003. So if you can be involved in these studies, even if you're not a person directly affected by it. My daughter participate. She came in with me and saw Liza on our last enroll visit, and she just tested negative for HD, but is a control subject. You can be involved that way. And here it is. This year's Burrow picture and grandson's picture that I usually include. I'm also a packboard racer. That bottom corner, that's my racing partner, Piper. And I taught her how to jump this year. And that's us up between Fairplay and Leadville at top Mosquito Pass. And my grandkids enjoying feeding her up in Georgetown. But any questions that you have?